When you think of Africa before colonial times, what comes to mind? Empty deserts? Endless jungles? A people waiting to be discovered? That's the story many of us were told. But the truth? Oh, it's far more powerful, far more dazzling. Because before borders, before colonization, before maps divided this continent into pieces, Africa was home to mighty kingdoms, vast trade routes, and societies so advanced, they rivaled the great empires of Europe and Asia. Welcome to pre-colonial Africa, kingdoms and societies. Let's start in West Africa. Picture this, the year is 1300. Imagine a caravan stretching across the Sahara Desert, camels carrying gold, salt, spices. At the center of this golden age stood the Mali Empire. And leading it? Mansa Musa, the richest man in all of history. Yes, richer than Jeff Bezos. Richer than Elon Musk. His wealth was so massive that when he made a pilgrimage to Mecca, he gave away so much gold in Egypt that the economy collapsed for years. But Musa wasn't just about money, he built schools, libraries, and the famous city of Timbuktu, which became a center of learning, drawing scholars from across the world. But Mali wasn't alone. To the south, the Ashanti Empire in what is now Ghana flourished. Their symbol of power? The golden stool, believed to house the very soul of the Ashanti people. You couldn't sit on it. You couldn't even touch it casually. It was sacred, representing unity and strength. Imagine if your country's entire identity was embodied in one shining symbol. That was the golden stool. Further east, along the Indian Ocean, there were the Swahili city-states, Kilwa, Mombasa, Zanzibar. These weren't sleepy fishing towns, they were international hubs, buzzing with trade. Arab merchants, Indian sailors, Chinese explorers, all came to East Africa to trade in ivory, gold, and spices. The Swahili people blended African traditions with Arabic and Persian influences, creating a rich culture, a new language, and breathtaking architecture. And then, down in southern Africa, you had Great Zimbabwe. Picture enormous stone walls and towers rising out of the landscape, built without mortar, yet standing for centuries. It was a powerful trading kingdom, famous for gold and cattle, connected to markets as far as China. European explorers couldn't believe Africans built it. But they did. Brick by brick. Stone by stone. Of course, Africa wasn't just about grand palaces and bustling markets. Everyday life was rich with tradition. Griots, storytellers, kept history alive, passing down tales of ancestors and heroes through music and words. Festivals marked planting seasons, harvests, and rites of passage. Community was everything. Children were raised not just by parents, but by whole villages. Your story was never just your own, it belonged to your people. And if you think Africa was isolated, think again. These kingdoms and societies were deeply connected to the world. From Mali to Morocco, Ethiopia to Egypt, African traders and diplomats shaped global events. Without Africa's gold, Europe's Renaissance would have struggled to shine. Without Africa's spices and ivory, trade routes across the world would have been empty. So why don't we hear these stories more often? Why are Africa's kingdoms treated like footnotes in history books? Maybe because they challenge old ideas, ideas that Africa had no history, no achievements, no glory before colonization. But the truth is undeniable, Africa was never waiting to be discovered. She was already glowing. Already thriving. From the riches of Mali to the sacred golden stool, from the stone walls of Great Zimbabwe to the bustling ports of the Swahili coast, Africa's pre-colonial history is not just Africa's story. It's our story. It's the story of humanity, of trade, of knowledge, of power. So the next time you hear someone say Africa has no history, remember Mansa Musa's gold, the Ashanti's sacred stool, the Swahili traders, the walls of Zimbabwe. And remember that Africa was never a blank page waiting to be written, it was a library, overflowing with stories. Thanks for watching Pre-Colonial Africa, Kingdoms and Societies. If this inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that bring history back to life.